Guys, we are back. Sorry it took so long for us to get a new video out, but we've been busy.
And also not so busy. But that's been a nice change of pace. So this lifestyle can definitely just get overwhelming, constantly going to new places, and while that's fun, it can also be really draining. And that's kind of what happened to us towards the middle of the summer. We came to Delaware and we were staying at a Jellystone. And I don't know if it was just a combination of like all the different RV parks that we've been to, but we got to this place and we were just worn out of being at RV parks.
Yeah, we booked a reservation for the Jellystone here in Delaware for a month. And we realized right away, probably within the first 2 weeks or less, that it was probably not the type of thing that we can handle doing all the time, mainly because of the crowds. Again, we stayed there in the middle of, well, pretty much the whole month of August, and it was crowded every single weekend.
Yeah, so during the week it wasn't that bad, and it was nice to have those amenities, a pool and a splash pad and everything, but after a while the kids actually kind of got bored, and honestly we ended up spending a lot of our time just pulling out the little inflatable kiddie pool right in front of our rig, and that was much more enjoyable for them. I think we would have had a better experience in Jellystone if we would have been able to maybe scout it out prior to booking and decided in advance maybe this is something that we only want to do for a week or so. But that's one of the things that is a struggle when you're doing this lifestyle. You're traveling to new places all the time, places you've never been before, and all you really have to go off of are online pictures and reviews, and it can be difficult to take the plunge and go for booking for a whole month at a place. And the reason that we've started trying to book places for extended periods is because, one, it's cheaper, but it's also less wear and tear on your rig. I don't know about anybody else that travels, but I get extremely nervous every single time we hook up and we have to go down the road, and I know all of our belongings are just shaking around like an earthquake inside. And I mean, at least we're not in a Class A where we can't hear every single thing as every bump as we're going down the road. But it's also nerve-wracking for me being in the truck and not knowing what's happening in the trailer as it's being pulled behind us. And travel days can definitely be very nerve-wracking for me, and if you're anything like me, I think you would understand. So we've tried to limit how often we're moving our rig so that we're not constantly putting all kinds of strain and stress on it. But that means that we have to go for it and book a place and be prepared to stay there for a month or two at a time. And you run the risk of, well, what if this place just isn't a good fit for us when we get there? And I think that's kind of what happened with Jellystone is, it would have been okay for a short period of time, but not for a month.
Yeah, there's something to be said about RVing and this lifestyle, and even just camping in general. It's the excitement, it's the not knowing, it's the adventurous type of attitude. So you don't really know what you're getting into. A lot of you all who are experienced RVers and even some of your experienced campers know that it's best to go check out the campsite first based on personal recommendations, even driving there first, then checking it out and making your reservation. But sometimes you don't have that luxury, and that's where the adventurous side of the RVing lifestyle comes into play. And some things that we've learned along the way is that always have a backup plan. Have a second RV park or an RV resort that you're maybe thinking about staying at in case you really don't want to stay at the place that you've really set your heart on at first.
So we decided, my family's from Delaware actually, and so while we were here we just decided to stay on our family's property and just hang out for a couple of months, and that has been so relaxing and so nice. Such a great change of pace to just be near family and be able to focus on some other things other than just constantly RVing and moving. And so, I mean, it was the beginning of the school year, so our girls have started school, which we're doing homeschooling for them, obviously, since we're on the road full time. And so that's been nice just to take some time and focus on that. But we are definitely getting the bug in us. We want to start traveling again, and we're going to be doing that here at the end of this month. We'll be heading down to Florida.
So Travel Light is approaching 100 subscribers, and that is a major milestone, really, and so we're happy for that. So thanks to all the new subscribers, the original subscribers that sign on to the page and subscribed early on. So thank you for hanging in there with us.
We are definitely going to start putting videos out more regularly again. Just needed a little bit of a break. So
that's the reason for that. I mean, because we're so stationary now, being here in Delaware for the past 3 months, that's the reason why. So, but we did do a few things as well while we were here.
Yeah, we saw the Natural History Museum, the Air and Space Museum, and I will say the Natural History Museum was really good. A couple of the exhibits were closed, like the mummy exhibit was closed, and so the girls were a little bummed out about that. But for the most part, everything was open, and so that was really cool. But the Air and Space Museum, the whole second floor was shut down, and a lot of the exhibits on the first floor were shut down. So I get that they were doing it for the pandemic, trying to maintain social distancing and have everything be safe. But what actually ended up happening was the same amount of people were going, and they all just ended up congregating in one central room. So it was really, really crowded, and you couldn't really enjoy any of the exhibits. And we didn't stay there very long.
In comparison, I think, the Air Force Museum in Kentucky was really nice as well. So there's probably some footage that we can show here as well.
Yeah, we did that a number of years ago.
Yeah, that was
How long ago was that?
About 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here's some footage for the Air and Space Museum in Kentucky. We went with my father and mother, and this is when Amber was pregnant with our first child, Melanie, and we had a great time there. It was huge. That Air and Space Museum is a really good exhibit. There's actually real full-size airplanes, SR-71s. I believe there was even a U-2, F-16s, space shuttles. Just really, really worth it. And again, not to be a Debbie Downer, but again, I really thought that the Air and Space Museum in DC was a little bit of a letdown compared to something like that. Again, we're talking about national museums here.
Yeah.
I thought it could have been just a little bit better, but I guess it is what it is.
I will say the one thing that DC has going for them is a lot of their Smithsonian exhibits are free to the public, so that is nice. But I think there is something that is to be said about having a privately owned museum. You have to pay to get in, but the quality that you get during that experience is a lot better. So I think that's kind of the general consensus we had about our whole DC trip this time was, for being the nation's capital, we would expect it to be better than it was. And it just wasn't. But again, it was free. So beggars can't be choosers, I suppose. But we definitely need to go back to that Air and Space Museum in Kentucky.
You mean the Air Force Museum?
Yeah, the Air Force Museum. Yeah, that was really, really cool.
Yeah.
So
that was really a lot of fun.
So we actually took 2 trips to DC, and on this last trip to DC, we actually got to check out the art gallery, the West and East building, and so that was really nice. The girls really enjoyed that. They're really into arts and painting, and they, I think in that, saw some aspirations that they could grow into, and so that was a really inspirational trip for them. I think they definitely enjoyed the West building, and I did too, much more than the East building. The West building is historic art from the 13th century up until the 20th century, and the East building is modern contemporary art. So my personal style of art, I just prefer the historic paintings and drawings. I feel like, and the sculptures, I feel like it's more just to my taste. I think the level of talent needed was like just amazing back then, and so modern art is definitely not more my aesthetic, but you know, if that is what you prefer, then you would definitely like the East Building. So I think it was definitely worth the trip. Again, it was free, and you go through this little concourse in the basement where you can go from the West Building to the East Building, and they have this tunnel with all these lights going through it, and it's really a fun experience. The girls really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it. So I would say out of all of our DC experience, the art gallery was probably my favorite thing that we went to go visit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought the art gallery was nice, but I think I preferred the Museum of Natural History overall, in general. But yeah, there were 2 great trips that we took there back to DC.
And I think that's something about DC that is a positive, is that there's something for everybody there. Whatever your taste, whatever your interests are, there's something that would definitely be interesting for you.
Yeah, so with that, we also took some videos and some footage of some of the restaurants that we visited there in DC on both 2 trips as well.
Yes, we spent some time in Chinatown and got to explore a lot of our favorite Asian cuisines. We did some Vietnamese, we did some Japanese.
We did that carousel sushi, was it called?
Yeah, that was my first experience doing a
what do you call that? It's a conveyor belt sushi.
Yeah, what is that?
It goes around like a choo-choo train, like a railroad track on Christmas morning, but it's actually sushi.
Yes, which is great.
Yeah, so that was nice.
Yeah, so that was fun. The girls really liked that.
Okay, so on a recent trip, one of our most recent excursions was a drive up to Niagara Falls again.
Yeah, so we ditched the trailer. That's one thing that's been nice, you know, staying on family property, is we've just decided, you know, sometimes it's easier just to leave the trailer and just go get a hotel room for a couple nights and go and do that instead of trying to drive your trailer all the way up through the Northeast, which is kind of hard to navigate. But we wanted to go up and see Niagara because we haven't been there since 7 years, and last time we definitely didn't do it properly, which we'll talk all about that. We've got a video coming out about our whole experience in Niagara. It was a great experience.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a good trip.
So that's one of the other things that we did while we were here stationed in Delaware, and so that video is coming out. So I also wanted to say to you guys, we do intend to take our channel in more of a direction of, instead of just travel videos, we're also going to start including more lifestyle videos. What it's like in our day-to-day, what it's really like being on the road full-time and parenting on the road full-time, and what our lives actually look like when we're not just out exploring. So if there's any questions that you guys have for us about full-time RVing or even part-time RVing, any topics that you want us to discuss or would like to see a video about, let us know in the comments, and we will be happy to start doing some of that stuff for you guys, because it's definitely been an adventure, and I think it's not what everybody expects, and I think there's probably a lot of people that are curious about what this really looks like from day to day. So we're definitely going to be doing that in the future, so be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, well said.
Yes, more traveling to come, more adventures. We're going to go wait out the winter down south. Hopefully it won't be too crazy of a winter, and we are itching to get back out west. There's so much more to see out there that we haven't gotten to see yet. So all of that is coming up in the next year or so. So stay tuned, and thank you guys so much for sticking with us. If you're new to our channel, welcome, and we promise we will be making more content for you guys in the weeks and months to come. So we really appreciate anybody that's subscribed, or if you're considering subscribing, you know, your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope we're going to continue to be able to make content that you guys enjoy, because that's really what this is about.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thanks so much, guys, for subscribing and taking the time to look at our videos and comment even. That really means a lot to us, and you know, so we hope to again provide great content for you all, and hopefully some good tips and things like that if you're considering trying to do this kind of thing full-time or even part-time. I mean, it's just we learn as we go. So thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.